that we tried to focus on was, a term that I've heard used a lot, customer-driven innovation, meaning if we go out and talk to our customers and we understand, their pains and gains and frustrations, and we understand their goals and aspirations and what they're trying to do, and their desires, like where do they want to be in some future state, if we could mine that, unpack it, and find the commonalities between the things that various customers are talking about, there's some patterns in there. And inside those patterns, we can discover either new innovative products and services that we could deliver to our customers, or things that we could do to improve what we currently have. And, and then I think innovation often gets confused with just being new. The way that I talk about it is, what's the new value that we can deliver? Not the new thing, not the new invention, but how can we deliver new value to our customers? Now, that could be new in the sense that our customers didn't even know it was there because we had it buried under some process or some service offering that customers didn't realize was built and designed for them.
It wasn't as apparent.
So if we could do that, then there was a way for us to, deliver it to our customer and deliver that new value.
Makes sense. And so it's really about the data that you were mining, right? You're mining through that data and you're trying to find those themes that are going to kind of hopefully give you more of a paint by numbers approach in some cases, right? Because it doesn't need to be you sitting there like Thomas Edison trying to think of the next big invention, right?
Right. Not at all. I mean, it's when I go back to, listening and working on those EQ skills, what I found is a lot of businesses aren't engaging their customers. They aren't talking to them. And it's really simple to start with. It's 3 simple questions. What do you like best about my product or service? What questions do you have? And then how could we make it better for you? Right there, you will get 80 to 90% of what you need to change. And change for the better, change to incrementally improve, to create something completely new. But those simple questions are all you need. And then you can look back at the other quantitative data sources that you have of, depending on what your business is, that you may be tracking, or in a lot of cases, you're collecting a lot of data and you're not actually reviewing the analytics behind it. So if you're not going to do that, then just go talk to them. Interview 8 to 10 customers about a very specific thing, and then figure out what you're going to do. Put it into a 2-week sprint and go make some changes, and then see what happens at the end of the 2-week sprint. Talk to some customers using that new thing that you've designed.
And what's some language you might use with somebody who's resistant to that? Because in my history, I've run into customers that are, or I should say clients that are afraid of their customers. They don't want to talk to them. They're scared to death of them. Or they're the opposite, where they've been doing this for a very long time, and they know their customers inside and out. I've been working here for 30 years. Who are you to come in and tell me how my customers should think and feel?
So I think if I were to unpack that a little bit, so I can tell you, getting out and talking to your customers is scary. I mean, I'm nervous every single time I go talk to them, and I'm only going to ask them 3 questions.
Right.
But I think that you just need to get out there and do it. There's nothing that they will say that you can't use to improve your business in one way or the other. And if you look at it that way, it doesn't matter if they criticize you or your business. You can take that and turn that into a positive if you're going to go back and apply it.
Right.
Now, I would say, specifically with Lifetime and some of the other longstanding businesses that I've done research work with, they know their business.
Yeah.
They know their numbers, but they don't know their customers. You've got to get out, because when they were really close to their customers, and let me give you a quick example.
Yeah.
When Lifetime started, the executive management team was very small, and they were talking to their customers directly because they were the personal trainers.
Yeah.
They were the salespeople, and they were touching customers on a daily basis. And as the company grew, they stopped talking directly to the customers and they let other people do it for them. And at a certain point, you just get so far away that you're living in the idealized experience of what you hope is happening, but is it not the reality for some of your customers?
I think that's pretty common, right? I mean, as a company, especially a company that's growing, those people that are in the decision-making power are having those day-to-day conversations with stakeholders and sponsors and people who are just plain old customers. But as they grow, they get further and further away from it because they're working on the business side of things, right? And I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges that I see for a growing company is how do you stay close to what the customer is saying, how, especially when you're in the decision-making position.
So the thing that any designer can do, and you're going to need to work up a little bit of courage depending on how large your organization is, but get in front of the people that are making those decisions and find an opportunity. Say, I'd like to show you something, and I'd like you to come with me. Take them out into the business and go talk to some customers. They maybe have only been looking at surveys for the last 6 months that someone else has done. And that work's probably really good work. But there's nothing better than taking an executive and doing some customer interviews and just having them sit next to you while you do it, listening to the customer. They will get more out of it. And I would say specifically at Lifetime and at the Nerdery, when we would get our clients to come with us, it changed their point of view on what was happening within their own business and caused the greatest action to benefit the customer and ultimately their business. Currently,
You've just recently co-founded a startup. So do you want to tell me kind of about the inception and then kind of a little bit about the journey?
Sure. So about a year ago, 3 other gentlemen and I started a company called Very Aware. And our purpose was to create products and services for social good. And so in combination with some other serial entrepreneurs and a few other nonprofits, we started talking about different things we could do to help them. Specifically, we'd come in and we'd unpack basically the user experience that their nonprofit members were going through and how could we help solve problems and challenges for them. One of the groups we were talking to was the Autism Society Minnesota, and we were talking to them about their membership base and their organization. Again, like what are the business challenges that nonprofits have today? Donor fatigue, what are the resources that they're providing to the people that they serve? One of the commonalities that we observed is that with many different nonprofits, there were a lot of interactions that their membership were having out in the community, and they were feeling lost, unheard, like they were looked down upon, and it really put them in what I was calling kind of a vulnerable position. As we talked through these different problems and what I would call open innovation, we kind of realized there are some ways that we could solve this problem, and we put that solution together for Officers Inc. and the Autism Society, and turned it into a service that we could give to people on the spectrum. Is really where we started. And so from there, Vitals was born as a product or service that could help families that had someone on the spectrum that couldn't always communicate, especially when they were engaging with law enforcement. And if law enforcement had this special application, or any first responder, they could get the information they needed to de-escalate the situation, understand that person's personalized behavior triggers, and better handle the situation and create more positive interactions in the community.
And make better choices.
Yes.
Well, tell me a little bit more about how it works. So it's you have a number of wearables, right, that interact, I'm guessing via Bluetooth with whatever application the officer has on their phone.
So let me tell you how Vitals works. So basically, families sign up for the Vital service, and they have an application built for them that connects to a tiny beacon. The beacon's a Bluetooth transmitter. It could be there's many different form factors, or even an Android phone because we can control the Bluetooth antenna in there. With that, when first responders have a special application that we've built that it can decode the signal coming from the Bluetooth device, sends it up to the cloud, pulls down the information temporarily on their phone, and they can see the person's profile when they're within 80 feet of the beacon. And that allows them to get the information they need to create safer interactions with that individual.
And from there, the information that is put in the application comes, I'm guessing, from the parent or guardian?
Yes, that's correct. So all the information that is in a person's profile is powered by the parent or powered by the community, as we kind of say. So if whatever you want the first responder or law enforcement to know, you can put it in that person's profile, and that's what's shared with them.
And so if I'm a parent or guardian of somebody on the spectrum, is this something I need to go through the police for, or can I just go and get it and then be part of the program? How does that work?
So the way that this works is you can go right to the Vitals website. So it's thevitalsapp.com. You simply sign up for the service. It's just like signing up for any service like Netflix or something like that. And you sign up, download the app. We send you a beacon in the mail. Or if you have an Android phone, that will work instantly. And you fill out your loved one's profile, and then you manage it from there.
So if I'm a parent or guardian and I'm putting all of this information about my child in there, what sort of security are you working with to make sure that that information doesn't get released out there?
So all of our information is stored on our private and secure cloud platform. It's all encoded and can only be decrypted by the first responder device. The caregiver application is the only application that can view and edit the user's profile that's then shared with first responders. And only first responders have access to the profile when they're within 80 feet of a beacon. So as we tell a lot of parents, so even if your loved one, whether it's an adult with dementia or a small child, if they left their little beacon in the park, there's no data on the beacon. The only way that information is transferred is when that beacon gets within 80 feet of a first responder's device. As I've been developing, many different types of digital projects and moving into what I call more the physical realm, is really the same thing. You're understanding what are humans trying to do. What are the humans trying to do? What are your users trying to do? What are their pains, gains, and frustrations? And then you're really just interjecting technology to make the experience better, to make something more convenient, or to improve it. And if you can understand where those touch points are, then you can ask yourself, do we need technology here? Or is it better a little bit further down in the process or the experience? And if you can understand what that customer journey is, and what the experience is you're trying to design for, then you can better understand where do we need to put technology right now, because you don't need it at every touch point. You need it at the right touch points.
And so would you give that advice to, say, a user experience designer that's interested in moving into the physical space to make good choices around when to actually apply that technology?
One of the things I would recommend is, make sure that you understand the user journey. What is it that this person is trying to do? I think a lot of us start out with Happy Path. What is that idealized experience that we're trying to create? And then after you figure out, again, what is the human being trying to do, where is that human being intersecting with the business experience that they're engaging with or engaged with, and then where can I, again, interject technology to make that experience better, more delightful, faster, pain-free? I mean, depending on what the problem is. A lot of times what we did, at Lifetime and as we build out, the Vitals app, is we're trying to understand and unpack what the experience is like and where we can put a little piece of technology that can improve the experience and make it better for either the person using the system or the person that's on the other side.
So, Nick, in the last few years, has there been a book that you would recommend to someone, something that's had an impact maybe on your professional career or even personally?
There are really three books that I really like, but I think the first one for me was Game Storming by Dave Gray. And what I really like about that book, especially as a budding user experience designer, service designer, is that it helps you unpack what